and the Fred Darling with a classic Chazz. The Spring Cup, the John Porter as well. Fascinating races to look forward to for the season. And we kicked off with the Old John Porter, the Dubai Duty Free Surprise Stakes Group 3. Hurricane Lane 6-4 favourite, calling them home as yesterday, Ian Bartlett.
They're off. Race with a 1.5 mile their trip here. As they get out of the stalls, Max Vega, the red jacket, and the blue of Hurricane Lane are the first two to show. The grey horse between those is Surrey Mist. And then Lone Eagle, a little deep on the course. He's got the blinkers on the first time, and Frankie Dettori keeping him away from the others in the early strides. They're followed through by Mojo Star, who races alongside Grand Alliance, and the red and white jacket of Farhan. Winner of the Best Turned Out Award is the back marker of the 7 runners who complete the first 2 furlongs in this Dubai Duty Free Finest Surprise Stakes. And now it's just Surrey Mist, Danny Muscat, a yellow jacket, darker sleeves. Got a lead of about 3 parts of a length over Lone Eagle, Frankie Dettori, mauve jacket and white sleeves running in second. Last year's winner Max Vega, red colours for Ross O'Ryan, is another length or so back against the rails in third. Then the favourite Hurricane Lane, William Buick in blue, halfway down the field. Races just ahead of James Doyle in mauve colours on Grand Alliance. A violet jacket for Kevin Stott on Mojo Star is next. He's about 3 parts of a length ahead and around the outside of Farhan Asheen Murphy in red and white colours as they make their way down the side of the course. So they're getting now to the halfway stage. There's only 6 or 7 lengths between them. And it's still Surrey Mist who has the advantage. Not a very lengthy one, but just about in front to Lone Eagle in second. Max Vega continues to run against the rails in third position behind these. And then Hurricane Lane, who is just ahead of Grand Alliance. Behind those, a 1.5 length gap or so to Mojo Star and Farhan as they race down the centre of the racetrack as they did yesterday. And as they do so now, sent on Lone Eagle goes on to take it up. But both Hurricane Lane, one from the left, and on the left Mojo Star are making their challenges. Max Vega in the red colours is still there. On the right in the mauve colours is Grand Alliance. Following him is Farhan, all with some sort of semblance of a chance as they head down to the final 2 furlongs. And Grand Alliance has joined Max Vega with the blue colours there. Hurricane Lane, the big horse on next to him. Mojo Star got pretty close to him here as they race down inside the last quarter mile. And it is Grand Alliance and James Doyle with a 2-length lead now. Max Vega in second. Mojo Star, Hurricane Lane third and fourth, and Beaton. Farhan is running on. They're inside the final furlong now, drifting a little bit to the far side. Grand Alliance, but he's clear. Farhan is moving into second place. Max Vega's running on as well. They come towards the line. Grand Alliance and birthday boy James Doyle have won. Farhan in second. Max Vega was next. Very little between Lone Eagle and Mojo Star. A gap behind those to Surrey Mist, and last, Hurricane Lane.
Grand Alliance takes the Group 3 opener, 18-1 for James Doyle, Charlie Fellows and Susan Roy. Second, Farhan at 40-1 with Hurricane Lane trailing in last, 6-4. Well, he's been known for trying to throw races away. He threw away the King Edward, arguably, at Royal Ascot last time, and it looked like Grand Alliance wanted to do it again, but birthday boy James Doyle was wise to it, and he's produced a peach. He runs away from the whip. He's a tricky ride, but he's got the right connections around him to try and keep him on the straight and narrow. A difficult horse to ride. He'd have probably gone over the rail had he been allowed to, but he's a talented one on his day, and he showed it here.
Look, he obviously was unfortunate not to win at Royal Ascot last year, and he's a pretty talented horse on his day. We're just saying he's a bit like a naughty kind of school child. You try to keep him as straight as possible without kind of telling him what to do. And that we covered most parts of the track there, which is never ideal, but he seemed to enjoy himself, and it was a long last furlong, but he kind of put the race to bed by that stage.
Did you always feel there was something there? Did you always feel that there was something under the bonnet?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, today probably more so than ever before. I mean, he's a horse who doesn't travel round super. You know, he gets bored after, he'll travel for a furlong and then he kind of switches off a bit. So I just had to play with him most of the way. So, he's quite keeps the jockey occupied. Anyway, he's hard work, but he did respond really well under pressure, and he's a fun horse to ride. So.
Yeah. Does it make the result doubly satisfying when it comes off?
Yeah, it does. Obviously, when they can wander a bit like that, it can be a bit frustrating. But with him, you feel that there's plenty more to come in terms of if something had come to me, he still had plenty more left. So yeah, it's quite a sweet result and nice way for everyone to start off the season.
You've had many great results in your career, but there's something about this horse that when he actually does put his head in front, it must be doubly satisfying.
It is quite satisfying. He owes me one.
After Ascot last year.
Ascot last year was particularly gut-wrenching. So he did owe us one. But he's always been a very talented horse. He lost his way after Royal Ascot. And then the gelding operation, we hoped, would make a big difference. He ran much better here at the end of last year. I felt he'd done very well physically over the winter. I didn't expect to come here and win this. I thought we'd run a really nice race, probably similar to the end of last year, and it would give us a lovely platform. But that was good. And I don't know how much he was doing in front. I have a feeling.
Not very much, I suspect.
No, which is exciting. And that's a good field he's just beaten. So the future is bright.
It's quite soft out there. It's holding up the straight as well. Do you think it helps him? Do you think it slows the others down?
Possibly, but it was a road at Ascot when he was second. So I don't think we'd swerve quick ground if the target was on quick ground.
Do you think he's just the sort of horse that it's always going to be pretty difficult to predict?
I hope that with the gelding operation, maybe not so much. He's definitely been a happier horse at home. And I hope that he might become a little bit more straightforward on the racetrack.
I described him just after the race as a genuine labour of love. To what extent is that true?
Very true, very true. But you can't help but love him. He's got the most wonderful personality, and he's a very funny horse to be part of. Stu, my travelling head guy, rides him every day and has done a fantastic job. And he's been a proper labour of love. The lads have done a brilliant job at home, every one of them.
First of the classic trials, the Fred Darling, now known as the Dubai Duty Free Stakes, a Group 3 over 7 furlongs, saw Magical Sunset head up a big field, 11-4 favourite.
They're off. 7 furlongs the trip. They leave the starting gates here with Stenton Glider in the centre. One of the first to show on the right is Montesfond in a red jacket. The splash of white on the face of Swing Along is showing good pace as well. Liberalist in red colours behind these. Soul Sisters a little away from the others on the extreme left towards the back of the field. Crystallium in mid-division. So is the best turned out winner Remarque with the green jacket, the white cap, Bridestones behind her. The pink and light blue of Lady Alara in the centre, fully wet behind this. Magical Sunset furthest from us, a violet jacket, has only Bridestones and Embrace behind her as they move down to the halfway stage. Swing Along still has the advantage, shows in front by around about a length to Stenton Glider, Liberalist and Montesfond. Crystallium in behind these, Remarque poised to make a challenge. Then fully wet on the extreme left is Soul Sister, Embrace behind this. Look to the right, that is Magical Sunset beginning her move to the leaders. 2 furlongs to go. It's wide open, but it's still Clifford on Swing Along in front. Magical Sunset moving through to challenge. Stenton Glider is still there with a chance also. Remarque is furthest from us running on. Crystallium behind those. Into the closing stages they come. And Stenton Glider, the yellow jacket. Remarque, the green, furthest from us. It's this pair as they race towards the line. Remarque is a little green, but is in front to win to Stenton Glider. Behind these Swing Along, Magical Sunset, Embrace and Bridestones. They trail back to fully wet towards the back of the field with Soul Sister.
Remarque, great performance in the Fred Darling, 7-2 for Rob Hornby, Rafe Beckett and J.H. Richard Watson. Second, Stenton Glider, 18-1. Third, Swing Along, 11-2. The front three have all performed with a lot of credit in varying degrees. Swing Along has run a fine race from the front, maybe fitness catching up with him. But the likes of Stenton Glider and indeed Remarque, who were the 1-2, have improved markedly on their limited experience that they'd had. It was good experience, albeit that Rob Hornby dropped his whip in the final half furlong. It didn't matter in the end. This is a very talented filly. She's entered in the 1,000 guineas, and you'd imagine that'll be the next port of call.
Rafe, your immediate thoughts after that? There was quite a bit to note and remark upon, I think.
Yeah, she's a little bit keen to post, wasn't she? And a little bit keen when the gates open until she got behind one. And that then cost him a bit later on because he then couldn't get out until late in the piece. I was really pleased with her. She did a super bit of work in the week, and you know, I was pretty hopeful with the way she came out of that work that we'd have a squeak today. But it's kind of a big step, isn't it? You know, once race maiden winner, she didn't learn that much at Salisbury as you saw today, and she wouldn't have been ready to run a week ago. So I hope we get some warm weather. She'll need that for a, you know, she's still got a bit of coat on her, hasn't she? But she's pretty good.
You've trained so many of this family, so many of them very good. So many of them very good over a distance of ground. Yeah. To what extent has Kingman put a real bit of dash and flash and brilliance into the family?
Well, it would seem that way, wouldn't it? You know, Regardia, I ran her in the Oaks, and she was placed in the Musidora, won over a listed race over a mile and a quarter. You know, this filly's a lot quicker than her. And, you know, Scope and all the rest of them, you know.
Yeah, dear old look here.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. You know, it's you know, but Grand Dam was 7 furlong filly, really, 7 furlong miling filly, so it's great. It's brilliant. How often does it happen? You know, he keeps from 5 mares, it's amazing. So we'll see what happens, but if she comes out of it well, we'll go straight to Newmarket.
Just looking at her there, you're quite stargazy in the closing stages. Yeah. Obviously, there's still quite a bit to learn, and just you wanted to concentrate and get on with it. Yeah. Do you think that would in any way compromise her going to a track with lots of undulations and lots of open space?
Good question. It's a very well balanced filly. You know, if you watched her Salisbury one, which she was also only just ready for, she handled Salisbury's undulations pretty well that day. It wouldn't worry me that so much. It would more, what would worry me more is if she gets out of today in good shape. You know, if she recovers from today quickly, then that would be the bit I'd concentrate on.
I appreciate you can't tell, but the way she marched away from the winner's enclosure must give you some hope.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't look to have taken an awful lot out of herself.
She's pretty good.
Yeah, she is good.
2,000 guineas clues in the Greenham. The Group 3 over 7 furlongs. Chaldine all the rage for the star 2-year-old. 5-4 at the off.
They're off. 7 furlongs is the chip. And Chaldine has unseated Frankie at the start. Chaldine ducked left and Frankie Dettori is sat on the ground at the start as the favourite runs loose at the head of the field. As Isaac Shelby towards the right is the first one to show up. The Riddler and Zoology with those on the left is Gray's Monument, who's tracked by Knight, and with him is Classic. Wiltshire towards the back of the field in company with the Theory of Everything, and Streets of Gold behind those. They're heading down to the halfway stage in this Watership Down Greenham Stakes, preceded by a loose favourite Chaldine. So the running is being made by Isaac Shelby. The blue sleeve jacket for Sean Levy to Zoology. With Zoology is Charin, the light blue and grey colours. Then comes Gray's Monument towards the left, and these are being followed through by Knight on the extreme left in the black and yellow striped jacket. The Theory of Everything on the right trying to get into contention. Streets of Gold and Wiltshire behind those are inside the last quarter mile, and it's Isaac Shelby has the lead of just over a length. Charin is in second position trying to get closer. Behind those is Zoology, the Theory of Everything and Wiltshire, but inside the final furlong it is Isaac Shelby well clear of his rivals, only just clear of the loose Chaldine, but it is Isaac Shelby and Sean Levy who win. Charin in second, there's a very big gap to the Theory of Everything in third, then Zoology and Wiltshire and Streets of Gold and Knight. Behind Knight was Gray's Monument, and still coming, Classic and the Riddler.
Dramatic Greenham won by Isaac Shelby. 15-2 for Sean Levy, Brian Meehan and Manton Thoroughbred. Second, Charin, 14-1. Third, Theory of Everything, 6-1. Most of the post-race talking points, however, were in the first 5 yards, with short price favourite Chaldine unshipping Frankie Dettori as he came out of the stalls. Taking a look back at it, it looked like Streets of Gold did come across, but a very interesting unseat ultimately. Frankie down on the deck in the first few yards, and that left the race all to play for, with plenty of horses who could have stepped up and thrown their hat in the rings for Guinea's contention? Well, Isaac Shelby certainly has. He was 12 lengths behind Cialdini in the Dewhurst when they last met, but a winter has clearly served him well. He travelled powerfully through the race. Cialdini was keeping him company in the closing stages, but he was well clear of Charin at the line, and he's very much put his claims forward for a classic going forward. Will it be the 2,000 guineas? We'll have to wait and see.
Isaac Shelby, your second classic trial victory in a week. All the drama at the start. Did you have any idea what had happened?
I didn't, you know. I'd imagined that Frankie was going to be making the running, and I was just drawn on the wing a bit, looking for cover. At the same time, going forward, doing my own thing. And when the loose one came by me, it lit him up. So I ran basically the majority of the race, very keen.
And did you know who the loose one was by that
Well,
stage?
at that stage, I had a trail on him and I was following him the whole way to the line. I just thought we'd done maybe too much getting up to the furlong marker, but nothing showed up.
Your horse was quite a strong market mover today. There was clearly confidence behind his chance. We spoke on the phone the other day. You were hopeful of a big run, but could you have expected anything quite like that? It was emphatic in the end.
Look, I rode him a while back in Lingfield a few months ago, and he definitely felt as though he had retained his ability. But at the same time, I would have liked to see him improve that a little bit more, you know. He's definitely showed today that he did improve. So
he surprised you a little bit?
Yes, he has, and it's a good surprise.
Now, it's softish ground today, quite holding ground, but his form last year was on a sound surface in the main. What does he want?
I would say sound surface. He's a good moving horse, really strong traveller, and he stays well. You know, a combination of travelling quite strong in that ground today. I think maybe horses found it a little bit harder to pick him up, but he's definitely handled the surface today that he wouldn't normally.
And he looks to have quite a sound mind.
Very much so. Like I said, everything was perfect until the lead horse went past me. The loose one went past me, and it just lit me. He got competitive way earlier than I'd like him to. You know, in an ideal world, you'd like to get a little bit of cover and just maybe do things a little bit more settled early doors, you know.
Well done, Sean.
Cheers.
Sean Levy, who's ridden the winner here, Isaac Shelby. I'm going to have a quick word with Sam Sangster, if I can, the winning owner. Well, a dramatic race, to say the very least.
It definitely was. And, you know, we were all gutted for Frankie and the Judmont team, and, you know, obviously hope Frankie's all right, hadn't seen, but we were absolutely delighted with the horse. He was humming before he came here, and we're just delighted he got to show that on the track today.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of confidence behind him, as I said to Sean in the market, but he said he'd ridden him at Lingfield and thought he needed to do a fair bit more than he'd shown him that day.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Sean kind of got off and reported that, you know, he just felt like, you know, there's other horses that are going to be in the race that are bigger frame than him, and, you know, he's always been that kind of light-framed horse, but, you know, for us, it was all about what he was doing at home, and, you know, the way he came out of that trial gave us so much confidence coming into today.
And he's a horse now who you can look forward to hopefully a productive season with. You look at the shape of the Guineas now. Where do you see him in that pecking order in your own mind?
Look, he's in the French Guineas, not the English. So
and you wouldn't think of a supplementary?
I'll have to speak to the owners, but look, I think the plan has always been to go to the French. Look, he loved the ground here today. It could be similar over at Longchamp, so you know, we're happy to go there, I think.
So you do think soft ground would be in his favour?
I think it would be, yeah. I think the way he handled it today, you know, Night of Thunders are pretty versatile, and I don't see it being a problem over there, yeah.
When was the last time the Sangster colours were in the green and winners enclosure?
That's a good question. I'll have to go back through the records.
Yeah, you and me both. Unfortunately, I don't have the ready answer, which I should have.
Yeah, but look, I'm so delighted for Brian and all the team at home. They put a lot of work into this horse, and obviously we had a bit of disappointment in the Dewhurst when we were really confident of his future, and, you know, I'm just got a lot of support behind the owners all here today, so I'm just really, really happy for everyone involved with the horse.
Well done, Sam.
Thanks very much.
Cheers. Thank you.
The winning horse is a Goff's horse.
Bet Goodwin's Spring Cup Handicap up next, still on the straight course, this time over a furlong further than the green of a mile. And Latam, who won the Irish Lincolnshire last time, he was back on home soil and 2-1 to win again.
They're off. Race a mile is the chip for the Bet Goodwin Spring Cup, and as they begin their journey, right in the centre is Revic, off towards the left with the noseband is Brunch. Nobody too keen to set the pace by the looks of things. On to the right in pink is Galliac as they merge now to one group. Twa My Son in the pink and black is right in the centre, in company with Great Max and as free-going Jimi Hendrix, royal blue sleeves to the extreme right with his blinkered head, the first time blinkers today. The grey Al Reb, who won the best turned out award, is next and is just ahead of Latam, the green and red jacket, who's settled next to Atrium, the extreme left in the light blue, and then comes Bless Him in the yellow and black colours, who is at the rear of the field. They settle down then, and Revic heads them down towards the halfway stage, a little over a length ahead. Brunch and Galliac in second and third places, and Jimi Hendrix behind these. A red jacket of Al Reb is next from Latam and Twa My Son. Extreme right is Jimi Hendrix, and one from the right is Great Max. Atrium is on the left, and the yellow of Bless Him continues to be at the rear of the field. They pass the 3 marker now, and it's still Revic who has the advantage, leading to Jimi Hendrix on the right in the blue sleeves. In second place with the noseband on the left is Brunch. Latam making significant headway, begins his challenge. One from the right is Great Max. Atrium extreme left is running on a bit in the closing stages. Galliac is behind these as well. They head down into the final furlong then. Jimi Hendrix is a 2-length leader. Latam and Great Max are in pursuit in second and third places, but it's Ross Orion on Jimi Hendrix. Blinkers the first time, 3 or 4 lengths ahead. Wim. Latam is second. Revic and Great Max together behind these. Atrium and Bless Him, and then came Twa My Son and Brunch, Galliac, and then Al Reb.
What a performance from Jimi Hendrix. Takes the Spring Cup 9-2 for Russ Orion. Rafe Beckett, Chelsea Thoroughwood's Purple Haze, a double on the day for the trainer. Second, Latam staying on 2-1. Third, Revic 15-2. Jimi Hendrix had first time blinkers on, and they seem to have very much done the trick. He raced by himself on the wing, and when asked for his effort, the response was fairly immediate. It looked like Latam was travelling through the contest really well. He stayed on well for second, and Revic has also ran a creditable race in third, but they were very much playing for places behind a horse who has an admirable win record, and first time headgear has certainly done the trick. Mile Maiden up next for horses who have run no more than twice. To Catch a Thief on debut for the Haggis team, 5-2 favourite.
They're off. Race over the straight mile here. They come out of the stalls. Ascari dives out to the extreme right and drops in behind the others early on. Greatest time towards the left in white and red colours. Was pretty keen on the way down to post and leads them early on. Extreme left is Eagle Eye Tom, with those a green cap of Salamancan and the Jackler in the black and grey hoops. On the right in light blue escarpment is trapped by the maroon of Sugar Hill. The mauve colours of Yes I Said Yes. The best turned out winner To Catch a Thief, a black and white jacket, a red cap, and Ascari in purple colours. A little errant at the start, but has caught up with the others. But it is Greatest Time, a clear leader as they move down towards the halfway stage. Got to be 4 lengths ahead to Salamancan, the green cap in second. Escarpment behind these. Then comes Goldsby, the dark sleeves on a white jacket, just about in third place. Behind these, Eagle Eye Tom and To Catch a Thief, and they're followed through by Sugar Hill and Yes I Said Yes. And then comes the Jackler. Ascari continues to be the back marker. They are approaching now the 3 marker and past it, and Greatest Time continues to be in front. The others are catching him. Towards the extreme right is Sugar Hill. The light blue escarpment. Ascari, look at that on the left. The one who was a bit all over the place at the start in the purple is coming home strongly. And Goldsby, backed at very big odds, is there as well. Behind these is To Catch a Thief. They head down towards the last furlong. Goldsby, escarpment, Sugar Hill, Ascari, and To Catch a Thief are the 5 that will fight it out. Goldsby, though, has the lead of 1.5 lengths with Charlie Bishop with 100 yards to go. It is Goldsby in front, who is making a winning debut. Escarpment second, Sugar Hill in third, Ascari behind it in fourth, and To Catch a Thief in fifth.
Goldsby off the mark at the first attempt, 12-1 for Charlie Bishop, Eve Johnson Horton, Mick and Janice Mariscotti. Second, Escarpment 4-1. Third, Sugar Hill 13-2. To Catch a Thief unplaced in fifth, albeit not a debut without promise in behind, staying on from the back. Goldsby was in a good position ultimately, but He's really shown plenty on his debut. He's looked professional enough, although implying that there should be more to come. He got 50,000 guineas at the sales, and he's well related as well. He wasn't given a massive amount of respect for the market, but he doesn't hail from a yard where debut winners are plentiful, but when they're ready to go from the yard, they can certainly do the job, and he has here.
Nice debut from Golspie in the maiden race here. Eve Johnson-Horton trains the horse, and in the end, Eve, he's hit the line really quite hard. To what extent has he surprised you today?
Hugely. I thought he would get very tired in this ground. First time out, and he's a big baby. He hasn't really done anything, and I thought he'd get very, very tired. So it was a very nice surprise.
I had a very interesting conversation with Mick Mariscotti last year about the way he buys horses and how he likes them trained and how he likes them brought on. This is another pretty inspired purchase. Where did he come from?
We bought him from Tassels last year. He was actually not very well when he first got back to Claire Bonner's, who breaks them all in. So he was always going to be backward, and then we decided we'd just give him all the time in the world to come to himself.
And what did everybody like about him when they saw him?
Do you know, everything he's done with a smile on his face. Ever since we've had him, he just wants to please. He's a real charming horse.
So a really willing horse. And was it quite obvious to you from his work where you needed to start him off? Because it's not an absolutely clear message from his pedigree.
No, I was a shot in the dark. I'm still thinking he probably needs further. But he just wants to please.
And what did Charlie say about how he felt through the race?
He said he loved the ground, and he said he was hunting along, thought he'd get place, and then suddenly he was like, oh, he came on the bridle and rather enjoyed it.
That's quite interesting, because it's not often, particularly on today's ground, which is quite colding, really, that jockeys will say, oh, always loved it, especially not when they're so inexperienced.
Exactly. So, I mean, I'm hoping he's going to love it a bit better than this, because otherwise we could be struggling if he only wants this sort of ground. But, I mean, I think rib chesters do want a bit of cut. But there's a difference between a bit of cut in this ground here. OK, so a pleasant surprise in some respects, even though you knew he had ability. Where do you see yourself going with him next? Well, I was going to go to a maiden, so I don't know.
Well, you might have to go to a novice under a penalty. Or would you be bolder than that now on what you've just seen?
Probably not. I think we'll just take it steady with him. He's still weak, he's still unfurnished. He will be a nice horse, but there's no point rushing.
He is a nice horse. He might be an even nicer horse. You've got a very nice horse in Streets of Gold. The unbeaten run's come to an end, but what did you think of his run? Yeah,
I mean, disappointed but not deflated. He definitely looked like he was about to run into third place, and just he got very tired and the ground got very sticky. So I don't think he got the trip in that ground. So, well, I might drop back to 6 or 7 on better ground.
There are so many options. That's the thing, aren't there? There's so many ways you could go with a horse like
Absolutely.
him.
I mean, he's still a lovely horse to have. What a lovely horse to have. And again, he just wants to please. But he did get very tired. He had a right old blow. So he'll come on for his run.
And you still think fundamentally he's trained on? The ability level is definitely there.
Oh, yeah, I think he's run up to anything he ran to last year. So absolutely, he's still there.
Excellent. Eve, thanks so much. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Very expensive types on offer for the 3-year-old maiden over a mile and 3 furlongs. Can't have run more than twice to line up in here. Astrodome on second start was your 2-1 favourite.
They're off. I have a mile and 3 furlongs to race here. They're beginning in the back straight. Snow forecast in the black and red is the slowest of them away. Might have been slightly jostled by some of the others. Astrodome, the green and yellow jacket, is the first one to go through and have the advantage. Off to the running rail is Yellow Star. Klondike, a pink cap in the centre, is in a prominent position. Crimson Jacket of Sailing On, extreme left, or one from the left now, trying to get a bit of cover as well as they begin to settle down. And Frankie Dettori on Astrodome, the green, keeps one quite away from the running rail, but just about has the advantage. Sailing On and Charlie Bishop is right in behind him. The light blue is Sean Levy on Yellow Star, a pink cap for Tom Marquand on Klondike, and white sleeves behind those two, Banderas and Hector Crouch. In black and red is Rob Hornby on Snow Forecast, ahead of Talisman, Pat Dobbs in red and green. Sheen Murphy on Charlotte Square, the primrose and black colours, is fractionally the back marker, but they're quite well bunched as they move down the side of the course and on towards the home turn. So Astrodome has the advantage, a little over a length ahead, maybe stretching it to 2 now. To Sailing On, the Chestnut runs in second, and then Yellow Star against the rails in third. A length further back to Klondike, who's in the middle of Snow Forecast, and against the rails is Banderas. He's lengthening away on this leader here, Astrodome, as they move into the straight. Talisman in red, and the black cap of Charlotte Square are the last couple of runners. So down towards the final half mile. Astrodome has kicked on to about a 3-length advantage. Leading from Yellow Star in second, but not for very much longer. Banderas is coming to join him. 2 lengths away to Klondike, and then comes Charlotte Square as they head down now with a 3 marker in sight. And Astrodome with the lead in the green, but being ridden along to maintain it. The white sleeves and white cap of Banderas, and between them Yellow Star and the light blue. Klondike 2 lengths off these, the pink cap, and Charlotte Square is catching these as they head down to the final 2 furlongs. At this stage, Sailing On has been virtually pulled up, is a furlong behind, and 3 of them in line now. Banderas, Yellow Star, Astrodome. Klondike still catching them though, heading down towards the last furlong. Banderas has the advantage here with Hector Crouch, and now leads to in second position Yellow Star. Klondike and Astrodome are still within striking distance, coming to the line. Klondike the near side of Banderas, heading towards the winning post. It's going to be tight. Klondike, Banderas, Astrodome and Yellow Star.
Klondike off the mark on debut, 7-2 for Tom Markham, William Haggis, Jonathan Magnier, Table, Fittick Stud. Second Banderas 4-1, third Astrodome the 2-1 favourite. Very little in it between the front 3, and while Banderas and the favourite Astrodome both had experience in the book, Klondike came into this cold ultimately, and it showed in the run. However, he stayed on, really taking the son of Galileo, while also implying that there should be plenty more to come. The penny very much dropping late on. Galileo out of a pivotal mare has been the blueprint for success in the past, and it looked like it might for this colt who got 600,000 guineas. Final race at Newbury was a mile 2 furlong handicap. First Officer headed up a very open affair and was well back, 6-1 into 130 at the off.
They're off. Race over a mile and a quarter here. A little slow maybe was Saturn 5 in the red and white colours as First Officer in company with Stately Home and also Time Interval. The first few to show up there. Sweet Reward is in a prominent position. Glen again is wide on the course. Tuxedo Junction behind these, and also Point of Fact not far off the leaders as they move down to the end of the back straight. And best turned out winner Time Interval, blue, white and red jacket, a little keen but showing in front. Sweet Reward, the yellow on the cap, and Stately Home, a grey is next, and Point of Fact in white and blue, Mysterica in green, and Glen again in grey. Behind these First Officer blue with white sleeves, the black and orange of Tuxedo Junction, and Tiger Beetle in black and red stripes. Amor Vincid Omnius right in behind these as they move down the side of the course. Mustazid, blue jacket, white cap. He got 4 behind him at this stage. Saturn 5 in red, Chantico in yellow. Come on, Kenny, one of the greys, and Lusaka's just about the back marker. Good 15, if not more lengths, first to last here as they come to the home straight, and they're getting to halfway. Time Interval has the advantage of 2. Sweet Reward running in second, Stately Home in third position. Right in behind these in fourth is Point of Fact. Behind Point of Fact in grey colours is Glen again. Tuxedo Junction making progress. Mysterica in green on the extreme right is still there. Amor Vincid Omnia behind these. Favourite Mustazid extreme left. Blue jacket, white cap going okay, making headway. Further back is Tiger Beetle, and then comes Saturn 5, and Come On Kenny behind this, and then Chantico. Lusaka's at the rear of the field. Time Interval still has the lead. Can see the 2 marker coming down the straight now, and he's got a couple of length advantage to Stately Home on the right. Mysterica, Sweet Reward behind those. Orange cap, Tuxedo Junction. Mustazid behind this, but Time Interval still has the lead. He's got just over a furlong to go. Mustazid in full flight nearest to us now is beginning to gain. Tuxedo Junction behind those are inside the final furlong. Time Interval trying to hold on. Mustazid trying to get past him. Does so. Mustazid going on to Time Interval, Tuxedo Junction, Mysterica, and behind those is Stately Home.
Mustazid wins 9-2 for Kieran Schumacher, Harry Eustace and the Newmarket Racing Club HQ3. Second Time Interval 100-1. Third Tuxedo Junction 20-1. First Officer, the big gamble in the race, was beaten a fair way out and faded away to finish well down the field. But this was a win for Mustazid, who is in new digs. This was his first run, having finished off last time when second for Chris Wall back at Doncaster in heavy ground. He showed his propensity for difficult conditions there and has run down Tuxedo Junction in no uncertain terms. A massive race in behind from the second and third, but today it was Mustazid's day. There are your winners for Newbury On Trials Day, the 3-year-old classic trials won by Remarque, respectively, in the Fred Darling. Isaac Shelby in a dramatic green him. Jimi Hendrix, first-time headgear, very much working well for him, and some fine maiden performances. The likes of Golspie and Klondike looking ones to follow. And the best time in the clock came from Isaac Shelby in the Greenham, 129.05, 6.15 above the standard, 0.88 furlong per furlong.